The White House has announced that President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will travel to Lewiston, Maine on Friday to mourn with the families of the 18 people murdered in this year's deadliest mass murder. More than 1,000 people gathered on Sunday for a memorial service at the Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul in Lewiston. The mass murderer's family warned local law enforcement of his declining mental health while having access to firearms 5 months before the mass murder. The Associated Press reports the mass murderer, quote, underwent a mental health evaluation last summer after accusing soldiers of calling him a pedophile, shoving one and locking himself in his room during training in New York, officials said. A bulletin sent to police shortly after last week's attack said that the murderer had been committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks after hearing voices and threats to shoot up a military base. Our next guest, Tennessee State Representative Justin J. Pearson, is a graduate of Bowdoin College in Maine, and he said this: I was privileged to attend Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine, and now mourn the lives lost during the senseless violence committed by a mass shooter at a bowling alley not very far from my alma mater in Lewiston, Maine. I stand in solidarity with these survivors as they grapple in the aftermath of this horrific act and pray for the healing of those injured during the attack in the Lewiston community. Gun violence is a national epidemic. It is a preventable epidemic. The deaths caused by gun violence are a product of the moral cowardice of people in power failing to protect innocent people. Elected leaders must prevent these tragedies from Memphis to Maine. As legislators, it is our duty to do all we can to prevent these atrocities by passing laws that protect people, schools, and communities. Joining us now is Democratic State Representative Justin J. Pearson of Tennessee. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I thought of you when I saw the location of this event, knowing that you graduated from Bowdoin, spent 4 years there in Maine. Please just feel free to share your thoughts with us tonight about what has happened in Maine.
Lawrence, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. And I am again devastated and heartbroken by the preventable loss of life for the folks in Lewiston. We cannot be desensitized to the traumatizations that mass shootings continue to have in our community. Maine is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It was a place that helped to nurture me and to grow me into the person that I am. And I know that the folks there are resilient. I know they are beautiful people. But this tragedy has really shown us that we have more to do to protect our communities. And a lot of conversation has been about how do we protect schools. But the reality is children go to bowling alleys. The reality is grandparents and parents take their families out to have nights out. And we have to ensure that we prevent people from having access to weapons of war that should not have them. And we can never allow ourselves to believe that this is normal. We can never allow these tragedies and unfortunately these 18 funerals that are going to happen in Maine and the several funerals, the 6 funerals that happened here in Tennessee after the Covenant School shooting and the funerals that we see week after week in my district due to the everyday epidemic of gun violence to be normalized. This is a tragedy. And we have to remain sensitized to the harm and to the effects of the National Rifle Association, of the American Firearms Association's policies that are making sure that elected leaders do nothing in the face of the most significant killer of children in our country. We've got to do better. And I am devastated, truly devastated for the people in Maine and across our country who are suffering from this epidemic.
As you did in Tennessee, when you rose to try to, in the legislature, to try to bring to the attention of the legislature and the elected representatives there, their moral responsibility on this issue, you've mentioned tonight that it's elected officials who must act. We saw something so unusual in Maine after this. Representative Congressman Jared Golden, who changed his position on this and asked for forgiveness for his past position. Let's listen to what he said.
I have opposed efforts to ban deadly weapons of war like the assault rifle used to carry out this crime. The time has now come for me to take responsibility for this failure, which is why I now call on the United States Congress to ban assault rifles like the one used by the sick perpetrator of this mass killing in my hometown.
That's something we don't normally see after these events.
No, that is not something that we see, and it is a pattern that the Republican Party and conservatives should follow, which is you have been wrong, and it's time to be right. You have been wrong about the issue of gun violence prevention. You have been wrong about assault weapons. You have been wrong about extreme risk protection orders and red flag laws, and now is the time to be right. And hopefully you do not have to have 18 people in your community killed by a mass murderer with an assault rifle for you to change your position. There's been enough bloodshed. There's been enough people who have died. There have been enough funerals. There's enough guns and gun violence that has impacted our community this year alone. Over 500 plus mass shootings have occurred. Thousands of people and communities have been shattered. We don't need to wait or waste any more time listening to the National Rifle Association. They don't care about our children. They do not care about our communities. They do not care about protecting us. We are responsible for protecting our communities. And for legislators to only pray when you have the power of the pen and you have the power of the positions that the people have put you in, you have a responsibility to do more. And that is to change this status quo. And we must do everything that we can to prevent these tragedies from occurring in the first place and not just praying after they happen. And so this is one representative who has changed his position. There need to be thousands more to have moral courage because we are right. We are morally right and we are politically right. The people in our communities want to see laws passed and created and crafted that make us safer, and we need to do everything we can to pass those across this country.